And these are all customized for their process. I have a very detailed check sheet I go over so that we eliminate as many human errors as possible whenever we put these in the hands of the farmer or the processor, because we know how human errors, sometimes a 7 could look like a 9 or a 6 could look like an 8. So we don't want to have anything out there where it's not going to be appropriately done. So it's just a way that we've gone to enhance the food safety, increase the inventory and supply chain, and give the farmer better yield information as well as his labor, and hopefully he's going to expand his sales in the process because he does have the documentation that goes along with the record-keeping system. And with that, each of those fields on the PDA actually have a stylus that they can use, and they can just click on the field, and there's a drop-down menu that they can then click on the size of the product they're harvesting, what type of product they're harvesting, what field they're in. We can set all this up pre them receiving it so that it's all set into the system, so they just click and tap and move on to the next step in the process. We also do it with country of origin labeling. So we've got the information in that system that's going to give them their country of origin labeling. It can have it'll have their SSI number as well, but it would also provide them with the opportunity to go ahead and put into the scanner information that might not readily be available as far as records from who the lab certifier was. There's various labs out in the country that do different things, from certified laboratories, JHL, or Primus, and the farmer there can go ahead and input that information and have that available to the consumer. What we've done with this, as far as the PDA, we've got the printers there that you mentioned, and that printer will actually print the labels in the field so that we've then gone ahead and shown the whole process. And what we've done with our system, it's like a license plate labeling is what I like to refer to it as. There's never going to be two labels the same. There's always a sequential number that's changed so that there isn't a chance of the same lot number being on two different types of commodities at the same time. We've done the system in such a way that it gives you it limits the risk of the grower, the processor. It just really limits the risk that they're going to take because of that. So each of our printers come with GPS capabilities. So if the farmer is printing their labels in the field, they will have the GPS location within 10 feet approximately that they can track that back to the field location and give them better tracking availabilities there with their reports and analysis for decision making as well on their production side. So besides them receiving the benefit of what they actually harvested, they're actually going to know when they do their input the implications at the end. They're going to see what their inputs were, they're going to know what their output was, and they're going to be able to be more cost-effective in their own business. But we do provide three types of printers. We have the mobile printer that's all battery-operated, so it can be used anywhere on the farm. It does not work on an internet connection. It works on GPS location, so you don't need to rely on an internet connection. And that's with all of our printers. We felt that, being in rural areas was important not to have that need, because so many areas you might have internet on the road, but once you go into the field, you lose that connection, or you've got trees in the way where maybe that would interfere. So each, if you want to put it this way, like a crew leader could actually have the printer, and the PDA, so as the harvesters bring the fruit to the trailer or to the receiving station, We've set it up where some of the companies set it up with their employees actually having a barcode that is scanned before the label is printed. So now we've taken that traceability to the harvester, so the farmer is actually tracking their yields and their labor at the same time as doing and gaining all their food safety information as well.
Well,
so
Pamela,
Pamela,
it sounds like you put a lot of energy into your system as far as customizing it to meet the needs of the grower in the field. Additionally, you had mentioned earlier to me that you have the capability to store the database online, off-site, and that increases the durability of the information. Is that correct?
Yes, that is actually, Andy. What we do is everything's uploaded into a Unix system that we have. It's not a cloud-based system. It's a Unix system. It's interoperable with other technologies, whether it's needed at a processor or other types of facilities, so that they can always gather and have that record keeping available to them. It creates a unique identification, login, and password. The login's been easy to follow, easy to use tabs to choose the documentation that either the farmer, the processor, the huller, sheller, whatever steps in between might need. They're able to enter their activity, enter the type of activity they're doing, and that they have performed on the crop. They can upload videos and photos as well as additional activities. They can import important information, production records on a daily or weekly basis. With any type of thing in food safety, if there's a recall, it goes back to the last record. So if there's a lot of product that is recalled and they do their record keeping in a way that they record a new record after each sanitation, they would want to recall all the products that happened after the last sanitation, because that's obviously where the contamination occurred. So the more records a company does or has, the less risk they're going to take. By uploading the information, it allows other agencies to access the records with permission. So the farmer or the processor can allow, if it's FDA that needs record keeping for a recall, they allow them access within minutes. They've got access to the record. They can go directly to where the product was harvested, who harvested the product. So you're right, we have put a lot of work into this, because knowing exactly the point of harvest is so important, and taking that forward and offering the mobile scanner and the printers in the field just takes it to the next level. Giving these types of equipment and uploading to the ScoringAg website really put limit the liability, limit the risk for us as consumers that are purchasing food, knowing that the farmer and the processors have done due diligence to have all this record keeping and documentation. We run the Unix database on an Apache Red Hat 128-bit encryption server system, which I believe is, banks are typically at 64 or 86 or something. So we're running like military style. We actually had someone try to hack into the system recently, and I'm happy to say that they were unsuccessful.
Pamela, can I break in here and ask you a question?
Sure.
The question is, your system is completely adaptable to fruit, vegetables, nuts, grains, beef, dairy, pork, poultry, fish, and shellfish. That seems to be a very dynamic platform.
It is a large platform, and that when you look at the platform and you go to the website, you're going to see that, yes, you do have to enter things in more fields than if it was just set up for dairy, because there's going to be a lot more fields available for other commodities. Once you get into the system and you start entering items, there's a lot of drop-down tabs for a lot of the products, so the farmer won't have to spend as much time. But we found that to be efficient and to keep it at the price point that we have, we had to be able to offer it to all commodities and not keep it specific. For $10 a year, a farmer can have his records electronically held in our system, which to me that's very inexpensive. If you look at 365 days in a year, break that down by $10, that's pretty inexpensive for insurance policies. If your computer crashes or your office were to burn down or you had a flood or a storm and you lost all your documentation, to recreate that would just be insurmountable. But with our system, it's accessible anywhere you are, anywhere you have internet access. You can log in and collect your records or check on your records. If you're a farmer and you've got employees that are uploading information, you can check and see what was done that day, what type of activities occurred. I just feel so confident in the system at the price point that we're able to offer that to the growers. There's really no excuse for someone not to have records and not to have a complete traceability record-keeping system at this $10 price point.
Pamela, it sounds like your team is deeply involved in these installations. Is there a great deal of customization that's required?
If they're just doing the record keeping, no, we don't offer a lot of customization on that side of it. We will come in and do training if they would like to have some training or have some information shared with them as far as ways to use the system. We can certainly do that with them, showing them how to upload PDF files or upload Excel spreadsheets or import photos. We can definitely come out and share that information and knowledge. The main system that we do a lot of customization is when it comes to the PDA. We don't expect a farmer to sit in the box with his neighbor. We customize the PDA to his specifications and do it directly to his needs. Everyone has different needs, and we want to make sure it's done as simplistically and concise to make sure it's used to the best knowledge that we know it can be. So there is a lot of customization that goes into the PDA printer system. We want to and that's why I've got like 4 pages of notes that I take when I do meet with a client. And I like to cover everything because it's a lot easier to do it at the front end than to go back in later and have to, change fields or start over. We'd much rather get as much information up front. And that's why we do spend a lot of time when it comes to our survey and checklist. We like to know what types of crops they're growing, who prepares and maintains the fields if they have a custom harvester, what type of pesticides they might use, what type of irrigation they actually perform on the field, or what type of third-party growers do they deal with if we're at a pack house, or do they pack in the field, or are they bringing everything into pack? We like to know if they hand pick or if it's a mechanical harvest. If it's a harvester that comes in, are there employees or is it by a contractor? The types and size of harvest.
Pamela, we're just about out of time. Appreciate your input. I'd like to ask you in the last 30 or 40 seconds if you could summarize the services that your firm offers besides the system that you've discussed.
Certainly. What I like to say is that I am here to work for you, the farmer, and my mission statement, I'll share this. I like to provide innovative, cost-effective food tracing solutions to growers, packers, shippers, distributors, and food service companies that increase supply chain efficiency as well as enhance their food safety. And with that, I'd like to thank you for allowing me the opportunity today. And if there's anyone out there that needs any use for our services, we're able to we can track processes to be traced and sequenced to implement. We do specific data required for labels.
I'd like to thank you for your time. We've run out of time. I hate cutting you off because I really love this topic.
No problem.
Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you, too. Thank you.
Bye now.